The entire Palestinian national cause is one big lie. These are not my words, but these are the words of those from the PLO to Hamas and those who adopted the Palestinian flag, created the sense of national identity. They were very clear. It's just a way of trying to defeat Israel, dismantle the Jewish state, and create an Arab unity. These really are not my words. And so it's so important to say that the emperor's got no clothes, to say the quiet bit out loud, because otherwise, for as long as Israel dances to this tune of Palestinian nationalism, we are feeding the problem. Because for as long as there's this notion that Israel is on stolen land, that there's two competing national identities, it's going to fester the problem itself. You have to understand that it's not me that's saying this, it's what they themselves who created the Palestinian cause, and those the leaders of it, both past and present. Because if you were to ask any of the big campaigners for the Palestinian cause, if you were to ask them, the Arabs, would you rather a free Palestine, a Palestinian state from the river to the sea with one tiny Jewish control of one town, or have Islamic control of the whole thing, but it's from some other different Arab empire, nation, whatever? What would you prefer? They would tell you they prefer the latter. Case closed. It's not about a national identity. They are Arabs. And so it's so important to start unpicking the lies. And I wanted to read to you a fantastic graphic that I saw, which talks about how Palestinians redefine words. The Palestinian cause is about redefining words, about turning truth into lies and lies into truth. I just want to read this to you. War becomes genocide. Rape becomes resistance. Borders become concentration camp walls. Suicide bombing becomes heroism. Moving civilians out of harm's way becomes ethnic cleansing. By the way, I think that needs unpacking, by the way, the whole issue of civilians versus terrorists. It's much more complicated than that when you've got 71% or more of Gazans supporting Hamas. There is some level of complicity, and we have to say that. Because if I was part of such a nation, I would feel the need to call out things that I felt were obscene in their immorality. But anyway, by the way, it's not to say there aren't some innocent people, but they also need to declare themselves. They need to separate themselves. They need to turn themselves into the IDF. They need to in some way announce themselves as surrendering to Israel, not wanting any part of what Hamas have done. But the vast majority like what Hamas did. Anyway, let's keep going back to this list of how they redefined words. Hostages become prisoners of war. Keeping citizens separate from the terrorists they want to kill becomes apartheid. People returning to their ancient homeland become colonizers. Terrorists become freedom fighters. Palestinian migrants become natives to the land. Children dying in a war as collateral damage becomes murder. Something rightfully obtained that was never theirs becomes theft. Being on land that you 100% control per law becomes occupation. And that's not just international law, but that's divine law. The Jewish people's right to this land ultimately will only be compelling to the world when we state that it's not just that we're indigenous, it's not just that international law backs Israel's right to be there more than any country practically in the history of the world, but it's actually because the God, the creator of the universe, the God of Israel, assigned this land to the Jewish people as a land from which they can begin their mission, which is to bring God, the God of Israel, bring his presence to the land of Israel and to the entire world. I'm Ollie and you're watching JTV. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to watch another one, click here. If you want to subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest JTV content, click here. And if you're feeling really keen, you can click the join button down below underneath this video, where you can get perks including early access to new videos and private live discussions with me, where we can talk about JTV content and strategy moving forward, and I'll get to hear from you. Thanks again for watching.